Hello friends, welcome to the Block Thrasher Daily Morning Update. It is February 11th, 2021, and the markets continue to be hot, seeing a lot of green in the percentage gains in the cryptocurrency market. I'm excited about today's episode because I have a lot of really great information to bring to you, including 6 lesser known coins to buy before the crowd. I think you're going to enjoy that. That will be coming towards the end. Also, we're going to look at what happens with the cryptocurrencies if Bitcoin hits 100K in terms of prices. We're going to do a market overview. We're going to talk about how Janet Yellen is Yellen FUD again. That's her new name. I think it should be Yellen FUD. Yellen FUD. Janet Yellen FUD. And also Christine Lagarde of the International Monetary Fund doing the same, similar. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about the ramifications of, or not just the ramifications of, but how the International Monetary Fund it wields influence and impacts nations around the world. We've got some very interesting stuff to look at with that, so that'll be coming in just a bit. Also, more signs of adoption. We've got Visa, we've got Kenya, we've got the state of Iowa, we've got analysts from Morgan Stanley, all making steps going in the direction towards mass adoption. So let's get started. Let's jump into the market and take a look at what is happening there today. Looking at market capitalization, the total market capitalization has actually gone up since yesterday, 3.41% to $1.4 trillion. Looking really good. Volume is down a little bit at 261.39 billion. Where does Bitcoin sit currently? Bitcoin is 48,000, up 2.2% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum pushing back up to what might even be an all-time high. It has broke past the $1,800 barrier and is now at $1,808. That's a 2.56% gain in the last 24 hours. Ethereum is looking really good. Now Cardano has just been absolutely tearing up the market and is now, when you remove Tether, which is a stablecoin, the number 3 top cryptocurrency. It's sitting at number 4 if you include Tether, of course, in terms of total market capitalization. Cardano now has a market capitalization of $28.34 billion, and it's just knocking on the door of Tether. That is incredible. It is up 11.3% in the last 24 hours. XRP is up 8% at 52 cents. Holding spot number 5 in terms of market capitalization, and right below that is Polkadot at number 6, coming in at $25, up 9.91%. Now Binance coin is actually down a little bit in the last 24 hours, down 2.49%, but it has been doing phenomenally well as well at $127.10. Litecoin coming in at number 8 is $192.34. That is up 5.1%. Chainlink number 9 is at $28.18, up. Also up, what is the percentage on that? 5.66%. Bitcoin Cash coming in at number 10 currently, at least on coinrated.com, at $539.18, up 7%. And well, let's jump down to Dogecoin. Of course, Doge has been in the news, so we have to mention that. It is also up 5%. I'm getting notified on my phone from crypto.com that the Bitcoin price is up 10% today. So let's jump over and take a look at CoinMarketCap and see where prices sit according to CoinMarketCap. We are looking at a Bitcoin price of, I'm just going to do a quick refresh, $47,915 on CoinMarketCap. So Bitcoin is also on the move, up 27.91% in the last 24 hours. If I just scroll down through the market on CoinMarketCap, you can see that we've got green pretty much throughout. Market is doing very well today. Let's look and see what are the winners in terms of increase. Miota is up 46.17% in the last 24 hours, up 181% in the last 7 days. It's doing quite well. Also, the Graph, GRT, up 39% in the last 24 hours, almost 100% increase in the last 7 days. Icon comes in at 38.54% in the last 24 hours. Status is doing well. Engine coin actually is doing well, which is interesting because they were kind of struggling the last few days, and up 59.47%. That's an interesting coin, by the way. It is the first coin that has been approved by the Japanese government or regulatory agencies for in-game transactions, and so Engine is providing a platform where gamers, especially those based in Japan, can allow for EFTs and other, which are NFTs, non-fungible tokens, or game pieces, if you have a weapon in a game or something like that, it can be a non-fungible token. It can be sold, so there can be a marketplace where people can buy and sell and create these within the game. So that's a fascinating thing to look at. Basic attention token also doing well, and Algorand, which we're going to talk about later on, as when we talk about the coins to watch. So that is coming up. All right, moving on to the news of the day. Our top news story is Yellen FUD. Janet Yellen, U.S. Treasury Secretary, says crypto misuse is a growing problem. Interesting. The private sector invests enormous resources to help the government combat crypto crimes, said Janet Yellen, U.S. Treasury Secretary. In February 10th, yesterday, in her remarks to a financial sector innovation roundtable, United States Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen stated that the misuse of cryptocurrencies and virtual assets has been a growing problem alongside cyber attacks triggered by the global pandemic. If we scroll down, there's a little bit of, this is coming from Cointelegraph.com. They mention that Chainalysis, the company that does analysis of cryptocurrencies for the U.S. government, has said that despite Yellen claiming the misuse of crypto has been a growing problem, the amount of crypto-related crimes has apparently dropped in 2020, according to Chainalysis, one of the largest crypto intelligence firms in the U.S. The criminal share of all crypto activity in 2020 fell to just 0.34%. So that's the actual number. That's the real number, at least in terms of what they know about. But what's interesting about this is that that's what happens with money, right? Money's valuable, so people try to figure out how to use it for criminal activity. That's the whole point, kind of, and that's been happening with the U.S. dollar since its creation in 1913, when the Federal Reserve was created, and even long before that, since the beginning of time, right? People have been trying to commit crimes, either to get money or with money, and so there's this interesting thing happening where the law enforcement, the government, the Janet Yellens of the world, they don't like it that it's difficult for them to catch criminals. I assume, and they would love for there to be a system in which everything that happens is easily traceable and trackable. And so, when I think about that, there's this exchange, right? This exchange of freedom and privacy versus it being easy for law enforcement to stop criminal activity. And while I don't like criminal activity just as much as anybody else, the idea that everyone has to give up their freedom and set aside privacy and have every single thing that we do in our lives traced and tracked by Big Brother, by big government, in a 1984 type of style is just dystopian in nature and really just removes the desire to do anything and to live. I mean, there's this balance, obviously, of course, but I don't want to give up my freedoms. I don't think other people want to give up their freedoms. It's interesting because if you think about it, we're coming into a season, technologically speaking, where it's possible that sometime within the next 20, 30 years, we might have drones that could hover, that could follow us around 24/7. I've thought about in sort of a dystopian type of sort of imagining something that would be like a movie is a situation in which every single home is given a drone that hovers in front of the front door. The argument being that, well, there's 24-hour surveillance and it could be tied into law enforcement, and if someone's breaking into your home or something's occurring, it's being recorded, and these things follow you around and they provide this level of security like you've never had before. And the idea being that a lot of people would probably be willing to do that because, like, oh, cool, I don't have to worry about it. But at the same time, you've lost your freedom completely and totally. And it's like others have said, the safest thing we could possibly do is lock ourselves up inside of a padded room and never leave. But then you're going to die from the psychological ramifications of that. Anyway, I got off on a little bit of a side trail there, but it's all interesting to watch what's happening and coming forward. And of course, we're going to be talking more about CBDC, central bank digital currencies, because this is a direction that many of these types of people of the old guard that want to move in order to make the task of stamping out crime more difficult. And I just think they're always going to find ways around all of these things anyway, and it's a challenge, sure. But that's the nature of the world, and it's the cost. There's a cost. Yeah, it's going to be difficult for government and law enforcement to catch criminals at times if we maintain freedom. But that's a cost that I think we as a society should be and are, for the most part, willing to incur. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Christine Lagarde of the IMF is also breaking news. ECB President Christine Lagarde says it is very unlikely that central banks will hold Bitcoin in the new future. Let's see if I can get that out. It's unlikely, she says, that central banks will hold Bitcoin in the near future. I would say it's out of the question, Lagarde said on a call hosted by The Economist. Most European countries will require stimulus through 2021, she said. It's interesting how those two are connected together. European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde on Wednesday said that she didn't consider Bitcoin to be a real currency, adding that central banks won't be holding it as reserve currency anytime soon. It's very unlikely, I would say. It's out of the question, Lagarde said during a conference call hosted by The Economist. Wednesday's comments were just the latest from Lagarde on Bitcoin. In January, she called for more regulation on the cryptocurrency, saying Bitcoin has been used for some funny business, including money laundering, as Reuters reported. That doesn't mean there's no space for digital currencies in the future, however. She said the pandemic has pushed economies forward toward faster digital adoption, and that there may be a digital euro currency ready within 4 years. So this just ties into what I was talking about with Yellen. This is the direction that they want to go. Yeah, we can't have a cryptocurrency. We can't have cryptocurrencies. We can't have central banks holding cryptocurrencies because we can't control it. We need to stimulate. We need to be able to control the economies. We need to be able to do the things that will create money velocity. And we're going to do that through central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. So, of course, this is what she's going to say. The old guard, the head of the IMF, the Janet Yellen, the former, what was she, chairman of the Federal Reserve and now Treasury Secretary of the United States. Of course, they don't want to see anything erode or pick away at the system, which gives them all the power and all of the control. Now, here's where I wanted to talk about a little bit about how this works within the IMF. Most people don't recognize and understand that we have a global monetary system already. In a sense, it's almost like a one world government when it comes to the financial world. And this happens through the Bank of International Settlements. This happens through the IMF. It happens through the World Bank and those other international institutions that control the monetary system of the world and have really since Bretton Woods after World War I and then Bretton Woods II, which happened in, I'm not going to get the date right if I try to guess at it. But these institutions wield immense influence, not just on the people of the world and the banking system of the world, but also upon governments of the world. Many, many nations, unlike the U.S., but especially the third world countries, have in essence lost their sovereignty almost completely, especially in the economic sense, because of these institutions like the IMF. So what happens is, we have the dollar as a reserve currency of the world, and these nations, they operate within that world, but much influence is wielded upon them. They get into trouble because of mismanagement, their own mismanagement of their economies often, but then also because the game is sort of rigged against them, right? Because they can't actually control their finances as well as the United States or the European Union or the bigger economies or that have more control because they have the bigger banks, the central banks, the ECB and the Federal Reserve that have more influence on the Bank of International Settlements. And let me just sidetrack on that for just a second. Most people I talk to have never heard of the Bank of International Settlements. It's the oldest international banking institution that predates the IMF and the World Bank. And it is the central bank to the central bank. So think about that for a second. I mean, we think about the Federal Reserve as being the most powerful bank, and it may be the most powerful bank in the world because it controls the dollar, which is still the reserve currency of the world. But the Bank of International Settlements is actually the lender of last resort, right? They're said to hold more gold than any other bank in the world. It's located in Basel, Switzerland. It's its own legal entity, internationally, globally. If you are on the property of the Bank of International Settlements, they can do anything they want, and they're not legally held responsible for that because they are there, sort of like the Vatican. Anyway, they are the lender of last resort to many central banks. And so what happens is central bank can put, like the Federal Reserve, can put money or gold or whatever they want to in the Bank of International Settlements, and another central bank from another country can get money from them, and then that's connected to the IMF. So look into the Bank of International Settlements. I mean, it's a very interesting thing, and that's just tied into what I was saying earlier about we have this global monetary system. So the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, what happens is these countries get into trouble, right? These third world countries, they need a loan, and so they get bailed out. But there's conditions with those bailouts, and that's why I've heard about things like austerity being imposed. So the IMF will come along and say, hey, we'll give you this loan, but there's conditions, and the conditions are that you have to implement this austerity, you have to do this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so for those countries, it is very oppressive, and they essentially have to cede their sovereignty over to the international organizations and the bigger countries of the world. So this is just sort of the way, this is sort of the macro way that the world, overview of the way that the world works. And so Janet Yellen, Christine Lagarde, these, they obviously, they want to maintain that system. So they're a little bit out of touch, though, I think, with what is actually happening. But there is this battle sort of raging, and we're going to have to keep an eye on that and see what happens between the old guard and the cryptocurrencies and the new guard coming in. And here is an interesting story that relates to all of this. Kenya is one of those countries that suffers from this system that I've been talking about with the IMF and sort of this international control over foreign countries and their central banks. Kenya's central bank explores using Bitcoin to fight the depreciating shilling. Okay, Bitcoin's adoption could reach a significant milestone as Kenya's central bank has made a proposition to switch to BTC while the shilling keeps depreciating. Bitcoin could solve Kenya's problems with its devaluating national currency promoted by the International Monetary Fund, said the central bank governor Patrick George, or however you pronounce his last name. As such, the bank has announced rather game-changing plans to switch its base currency to Bitcoin. This is interesting. It's something we've been talking about in the cryptocurrency space for quite some time. Cryptocurrency is global. It's international. Bitcoin is global. And for many people who are in countries where their currencies are suffering and failing or facing hyperinflation, it could be due to mismanagement of their own country and their own central bank, or it could be because of what the IMF or other international institutions are doing to that nation. Bitcoin Dash has been used in Venezuela a lot. These other cryptocurrencies, any of them, can be used as a hedge or a protection for people in those countries who are under those regimes where their currencies are facing hyperinflation or other problems. Moving on and looking at what else is here to be said about Kenya's central bank. It says Kenya's national currency, the shilling, has been on a downward trend for the past few decades as it has lost nearly 50% of its value compared to the US dollar since 2010. In the past year alone, the shilling is down by almost 10% against the greenback. So this is very fascinating, and this is good news. I mean, we're going to have to watch this and see if it actually happens, but sort of in contrast to what Christine Lagarde was saying about, central banks will never, here's an actual bank. On the same day that news, the day after she made that statement, here's a central bank of a country that is being suppressed, essentially talking about switching over to Bitcoin as their reserve currency. Iowa introduces a bill to level the playing field for blockchain and smart contracts. Now, this is just a positive story for adoption. Basically, what this is about is the state of Iowa has introduced a bill that, if recognized, would make the distributed ledger technology, smart contracts, and make them usable legally as contracts of law. Just another good sign. I'm not going to talk too much more about that of mass adoption. Also, more news that is good for adoption. Mastercard has said that it will support select crypto assets directly on its network in 2021. Now, the details here are that Mastercard is most likely going to integrate stablecoins into its platform so that merchants can accept stablecoins for payment. But this is a good thing because it's not difficult to use Uniswap or another exchange and move from your cryptocurrency into a stablecoin and then go out and purchase things. So we will see. The article here says winds are changing. The latest announcement, however, signals a shift in focus for the company, which would see merchants accepting cryptocurrency directly, thereby removing the hassle of back and forth conversion for merchants and consumers. Visa says, Mastercard, we are here to enable customers, merchants, and businesses to move digital value, traditional or crypto, however they want. It should be your choice. It's your money. So, later on in the article, they go on to say that there's certain things they're looking at, like the need for KYC and consumer protection and such. So, this can be good and this can be bad, as with so many of these types of things. Obviously, it's moving in a direction towards mass adoption, which is good. It could be bad in that at some point something that we might watch for that could happen is the government might say, sure, you can hold digital assets and you can hold cryptocurrency, but you can only spend it through these institutions that are licensed and registered. And so a lot of the reasons to hold cryptocurrencies would sort of be, which is, trustless, peer-to-peer, person-to-person transactions could be sort of subverted or maybe even outlawed in ways. I don't know. There's a lot to think about there and talk about as we move forward in the future. Another sign of mass adoption, a Morgan Stanley strategist explains why crypto is here to stay as a serious asset class. I just wanted to share with you all a little bit of the history of Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley is an American institution that is a multinational investment bank and provides financial services across the world. It is headquartered at 1585 Broadway in the Morgan Stanley building in Midtown Manhattan. With offices in more than 42 countries and more than 60,000 employees, the firm's clients include corporations, governments, institutions, and individuals. Morgan Stanley ranked number 67 in the 2018 Fortune 500 list of the largest United States corporations by total revenue. Now, sometimes people confuse Morgan Stanley with JP Morgan Chase, and there is a connection, but they're not the same. The original Morgan Stanley, formed by JP Morgan and Company, partners Henry Sturgis Morgan, grandson of JP Morgan, Harold Stanley, and others, came into existence in September 6, 1935. So Morgan Stanley's been around since 1935. In response to the Glass-Steagall Act that required the splitting of commercial and investment banking businesses, in its first year, the company operated, this is amazing, with a 24% market share, which is US $1.1 billion in public offerings and private placements. So, very large, very influential. This just happens to be an analyst who works at Morgan Stanley. And on Tuesday, February 9th, Ruchir Sharma, the head of emerging markets and global macro at Morgan Stanley Investment Management, wrote a report in which he explained why cryptocurrencies are here to stay as a serious asset class. Sharma started his report by saying that although the current price of Bitcoin might suggest to some investors that this is a bubble, to others, including Morgan Stanley, this is a sign that Bitcoin is following the natural path of new innovations, in which investors' interest comes first from venture capital, then from hedge funds, and finally, about 10 years on, from traditional Wall Street players. So if he is correct, that means that we are now seeing hedge funds come in. We are now seeing, with Grayscale and others, we are seeing venture capital come in. But he's saying about 10 years on. So I don't know where that places that guesstimation at, but that is when we will see traditional Wall Street players come in. And I just point that out to kind of show that crypto can go so much further in terms of price, in terms of market capitalization than it is right now. We could just literally, if you're concerned because you're thinking like, oh, I've missed out, I missed the opportunity, and I'm coming in late, or if you're not, you're still coming in early. There's so much more gain that could be coming down the pike. So don't lose hope, don't lose heart with that. Here's some of the reasons he states for this is the fundamental reasons behind the belief that cryptocurrencies are here to stay. First is a growing distrust in fiat currencies. Yeah, thanks to massive money printing by central banks. The second is that younger people generally see cryptocurrencies as an exciting advance over traditional fiat currencies, which come in the form of coins and notes. The third is that unflinching demand from millennials has helped lower the volatility of Bitcoin even during the pandemic. And he says that in emerging markets, the level of distrust of central authority is even greater than that of millennials. So for emerging markets around the world, they are looking to cryptocurrency. Millennials are looking to cryptocurrency. They find it exciting. And as the money printing is increasing and increasing and increasing, and that will continue to increase, as we were seeing with the stimulus, as Lagarde is even saying, most countries are going to have to continue to do this through 2021, 22. Just keep doing it, keep pumping. So all of these are the reasons that are being cited, and of course we've talked about these things and know about these things as well, and we look to those things as also reasons for the cryptocurrency space to continue to increase. Moving on. We've talked about the problems that Ethereum faces with its transaction fees, and this illustrates that there was a platform that was developing on Ethereum called Unite, which is a platform for distributing Ethereum tokens to reward social media engagement. So they were going to work on Discord and Telegram and some of those types of applications to allow people to earn crypto by being engaged on those platforms. But they stated, unfortunately, we are no longer actively developing Unite. Gas prices mean the original idea for Unite isn't feasible, and after several months of work and many conversations, we've decided against building a social token platform on L2. So Unite was going to be a layer 2 solution to the Ethereum network. It was going to be a sidechain that would run along, and they were going to try to create this platform, as I mentioned just a moment ago, where people could actually earn cryptocurrency, and they could send cryptocurrency back and forth through Telegram and through these types of apps, and they just found it to be impossible to do that on Ethereum. There's a lot of potential solutions to that, and moving on to the 6 lesser known coins to watch, we're going to look at a couple that can answer that problem actually. One top trader says this crypto asset, we're going to reveal that in a second, is a sleeping giant and warns altcoin shakeout imminent. A popular crypto trader who made a name for himself by calling the March BTC bottom is predicting that altcoins are due for a significant correction in the short term. The pseudonymous crypto trader known in the industry as Capo says they believe altcoins will witness a large inflow of capital, but only after a significant pullback happens. So who's to know? Over the past day, the overall crypto market dipped by roughly 100 billion. However, Capo emphasizes that they are not quite ready to bet more on altcoins. Not buying yet. More blood is coming. Ready to buy the dips. And if that happens, pay attention. Watch for that. That is great advice. Always buy the dips. Always buy the dips. One altcoin that Capo is keeping a close eye on amid the crypto volatility is CentroP. NOIA. It was formerly called NOIA, and now it's called CentroP. The trader bets that the privacy-oriented crypto project is bound to hit $1, representing a 284% increase from its current price. So let's take a look at CentroP. It is one of the 6 lesser-known coins that I think people should watch and potentially buy before the crowd does. So, interesting, because we were just looking at the price they stated in the article, which was written for today, of 20-something cents, and the expectation that it's going to go to $1 has already sort of been blown through, because it's up 33.63% today to 32 cents. CentroP. What is CentroP? I'm going to pull up their website and show that to you for a second here. It's very fascinating what CentroP is doing, actually. The CentroP stack provides teams the ability to seamlessly create, automate, scale, and optimize encrypted connections between any devices or services running on a cloud, on-premise, or edge location. Your team can use existing technologies in your stack to install and configure the CentroP agent to create connections between your endpoints and monitor the health of those endpoints through the CentroP UI user interface. Below, you will find a lot of resources that are available to you and your team to build networks using. So basically, looking at this, what happens is you can think of CentroP as a VPN. But it can be a VPN that you can use on client side, server side, it looks like. So this allows for the encryption of information on traditional technology stacks. So if you're building an application and you are using Amazon Web Services, or you're using Microsoft Azure as your internet service, your host, to run your applications, you can use CentroP to connect all of those sort of as a bridge in between all those connections and provide encryption, which is really cool. I'm going to look into this a little bit more and talk about it more and bring more info to you guys probably when I do a coin highlight just on it, or maybe even a deep dive. But this would be one to watch for sure. They're doing some really cool technology there with that stuff. That's number one. Coin number one to watch is CentroP. Check it out. Number two is Phantom. I have been talking about and thinking about Phantom for quite some time. Phantom is an Ethereum type project that I would classify, I would say it is similar to Polkadot, Cardano, Algorand. It is a smart contract DApp platform, but it is one of the ones that is lesser known. It has a solid team, and it has been doing fairly well in price, and my guess would be that it continues to do even better moving forward. I'm not going to spend that much time on it right now, but it is one of the lesser known coins to watch. It currently sits at rank 90 in terms of market cap. It is up 18.62% in the last 24 hours, but the whole market's up. So keep an eye on Phantom though, and if you want to do a little bit of your own research, take a look at it. I'll bring more to you soon. Number three is Avalanche. Avalanche is similar to Phantom as well in that it is also, now Avalanche has just been killing it. It is a smart contract platform, as are the others. Avalanche is an umbrella platform for launching decentralized finance, DeFi applications, financial assets, trading, and other services. It aims to be something of a global assets exchange, allowing anyone to launch or trade any form of asset and control it in a decentralized manner using smart contracts and other cutting-edge technologies. Developers at Avalabs claim that Avalanche is the first smart contracts network to offer transaction finalization in under 1 second as standard. Avalanche has launched its mainnet in September of 2020. The platform's native token AVAX performs various tasks within Avalanche and also functions as a rewards and payment system for users. So check out Avalanche. Number three. Number four, Singularity.net. Now, I've talked about this before, and I've highlighted this in a video probably a week or a week and a half ago. And at that time, it was 6 cents, 6 or 7 cents. It is up 30% in the last 24 hours to 16 cents. Singularity.net is doing very, very well. Singularity.net and its coin AGI, that's the ticker to look for if you're wanting to check it out on the exchanges or on CoinMarketCap and whatnot, is currently sitting at number 151. Singularity.net was founded by one of the foremost artificial intelligence experts and scientists in the world, Ben Goertzel. Now, Ben Goertzel launched Singularity.net on the Ethereum blockchain, but they found that they weren't able to do what they needed to do, and so they are partnering with Cardano. You can find videos with Ben Goertzel and Cardano founder and CEO Charles Hoskinson talking about that partnership, and Ben Goertzel is excited, he says, about Cardano. And this is just another reason why that Cardano is my number one pick, and I love it. He's excited about what's happening with Cardano in terms of the transaction speed, the low fees, and just the entire technological structure of Cardano, but also the governance system, which is often one of the biggest problems with some of the legacy cryptocurrency platforms. What SingularityNET is doing and AGI is doing is they are providing a marketplace for artificial intelligence. The idea, and it's already live and they've already got a number of services on there. The idea is to allow developers of artificial intelligence to build those applications on the smart computer, which is Cardano, to have their own tokens and to sell it through the SingularityNET marketplace, to bring that all together so that a corporation who needs artificial intelligence services, let's say, one such example would be something like this, just to sort of flesh this out into practical, pragmatic terms. Maybe you're a news agency and you want to scrape the internet and pull data and pull information from all the different sources out there where this information is being posted, and you need an artificial intelligence solution to do that, and then to bring that in and filter through that and say, hey, this is what's actually important, this is what people are talking about, or this is what people are responding to, or these sorts of things. So a corporation could come in, a news agency, let's just say, and purchase that. And maybe then there's another, that same company needs some artificial intelligence that's scouring the internet and looking at which websites are being visited by a demographic of a certain age group or within a certain region of the country or something like that, and they could purchase that as well. Or maybe they need different solutions that different developers have created that work together and then combine that. So SingularityNET is doing this. Now, artificial intelligence or general artificial intelligence is something that is coming, and it's coming quickly, and it's coming in many different ways. It's going to be seen with autonomous vehicles driving and other things like this. And so Ben Gortzel, in one TED Talk presentation, was talking about how there's these major corporations that are developing and making, you know, leaps and strides forward in terms of artificial intelligence. Google's, the Facebooks, the Microsofts, even the Amazons, right? And his desire is to have a more decentralized artificial intelligence environment that's connected with cryptocurrency, in which people benefit, and it's not controlled. It'd be open source and not controlled by a massive corporation. So the things that Bitcoin did for money, he wants to do for artificial intelligence, and that's what SingularityNET is about. It's a very exciting project. I consider you to look at it. It's one of the lesser known cryptos that I think everyone should buy before the crowd. Moving on. Number 5, Algorand. Algorand is like Phantom. It's like Avalanche. It is similar to Polkadot and Cardano. It's another platform coin. What I like about Algorand, and I did highlight this a couple days ago in another video, so you could go check that out if you would like, is that it is founded by, I like its founder and I like its team. Silvio, and I'm trying to remember the last name here. I'm sure it's stated somewhere here. I'm looking for that. I am blanking on his last name. Well, we'll skip over that for now. The important part is Charles Hoskinson, founder of Cardano, was asked, what are some projects that are doing things right? And he cited Algorand as an example of that. They have some incredible technology. 46,000 transactions per second. Block size is 25,000 transactions per block. Block finalization time at 2.5 seconds. Guaranteed finality on all transactions. Algorand is up 24.99% today. There it is. Founded by Turing Award winner and MIT professor Silvio Macaulay, Algorand is a permissionless, pure proof-of-stake blockchain protocol. Unlike first-generation consensus mechanisms, Algorand's technology finalizes blocks in seconds and provides immediate transaction finality while preventing forks. So, kind of circling back to that conversation that we were having earlier about Unite and them recognizing that they weren't going to be able to do what they wanted to do on Ethereum. Same with SingularityNET. Solutions to that would be Algorand, Avalanche, Phantom, Polkadot, Cardano, all of these, third generation cryptocurrency platforms, smart contract platforms, decentralized app platforms that will make those things possible for them. All of which, of course, I think Cardano will end up being the leader in the end. But some of these are also great solutions. And if I was a developer, I would be looking at each of them carefully and trying to figure out which is going to be best for what I want to do, which is going to be most economical and get me where I need to go. And Algorand is going to probably be one that many developers will choose. So those are solutions to that problem that Ethereum is facing. Here's another, and this is the 6th lesser known coin to watch and to potentially buy before the crowd. Matic Network. Matic Network is changing their name, there's a little notice here, to Polygon, and rebranding, which I think is a good idea. Polygon's gonna be much better for them from a branding standpoint. So Matic Network is currently at 12 cents, up 7.23% in the last 24 hours. Looking at the chart, you can see that it has spiked just like everything else has in the last couple of months. So what is Matic Network? Matic Network is a layer 2 scaling solution backed by Binance, none lesser than Binance and Coinbase. The project seeks to stimulate mass adoption of cryptocurrencies by resolving the problems of scalability of many blockchains. Matic Network combines the Plasma framework and the proof-of-stake blockchain architecture. The Plasma framework used by Matic Network, as proposed by the co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, allows for the easy execution of scalable and autonomous smart contracts. So to describe sort of what has happened here is with a project like Ethereum, it was rushed to market and it was the first, so there were certain unforeseeable problems that no one expected. No one knew that when cryptocurrencies went online and started to send all these transactions, tons of transactions, and become super popular to the Ethereum network, that it would just didn't have the capacity to handle that, and that the transaction fees would explode and go so high. So the solution was, well, let's create sharding. Let's do side chains where we can, and a similar thing happened with Bitcoin, of course, right? So that's why we've seen the Lightning Network. So they're called level 2 protocols, where they run alongside of, but not on the chain itself, and they do all this processing and all these transactions, and maybe allow for like microtransactions where like a little fraction of like a penny is sent back and forth or whatever, which you just can't do when you have a large transaction fee. And then they'll do all those transactions and they'll finalize it and send it to the main chain, to Bitcoin or to Ethereum. Now this is the way that Polkadot works. Its architecture is such. Cardano is a little bit different in that they're going to have native tokens that, well, they do have this similar, because they have the settlement layer and then they have the computational layer. And so the computational layer is a sidechain where all those transactions are done and then they get sent to the Cardano settlement layer, and other sidechains can come along. And so this is sort of just a strategy that's come along. And Matic is a solution that will work with Ethereum, that will work with Bitcoin, work with these other sort of legacy cryptocurrencies that don't have the computational power to do what needs to be done, and also provide proof of stake in the process to do it as well. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on and to watch, I would say, because it is probably one of the leaders in this space, providing that L2 layer type of solution. So far, Matic has attracted more than 50 dApps to its POS secured Ethereum sidechain. Matic, the native token of the Matic network, is an ERC20 token running on the Ethereum blockchain. The tokens are used for payment services on the Matic network and as a settlement currency between users who operate within the Matic ecosystem. The transaction fees on Matic sidechains are also paid in Matic tokens. So that's just sort of some of the economics behind it. All right, so that covers the 6 lesser known coins to watch and to potentially buy before the crowd. One last thing I want to bring to you guys today, and I know I've gone a little bit long, but there's just a lot of stuff I wanted to cover. What will happen to the altcoins if Bitcoin rises to $100,000? A lot of analysts are saying that they think Bitcoin will raise to over somewhere between $120,000 to $180,000 during this current bull market. What happens if that happens? Well, that is 115% increase. The price of Ethereum would go from currently, what is it, hovering at close to $1,800 to $3,836. Cardano, which is at 90 cents, would be $1.93. Polkadot which is at $24, would be $54.41. And Binance Chain BNB would be $257.88. I forgot a cash symbol there. Who cares? Well, that's it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you checking in, and I really, really thank you. Thank you all. Love you all. Please be sure to go to blockthrasher.com, sign up for a membership. If you want to support this channel and you want to support this and you find value in what I'm bringing to you every day, please consider picking up a paid membership, which will give you full access to everything. Have a great day and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.